Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to another Mindset Mastermind, our daily dose of inspiration, motivation, a whole lot of information, especially with the material we're covering right now, to get us into gear for a day, a week, a month, a year of perspiration where we're doing the right work at the right time to build our businesses and build our life. And man, we're in the appendices of ninja selling. I love it that we are in here, that we are cranking through, and we're in the second day of the 10-step buyer process. A lot of incredible nuggets in here. And remember, end of the conversation today, we're going to talk about workshops we're doing today out of this material to help you guys get some things going. And maybe today you'll talk about some other things that you guys want to do because it's your guys' room. So as always, I am going to look for whose mics are hot. And when I know one isn't, I'm going to mute it. And raised hands, because I want to hear from you. It's not me bloviating up here. I'll be doing enough of that tomorrow when I'm here in Chicago in front of a room. So today, guys, what do you have from the material that's caught your attention that you're going to improve your buyer presentation? Celeste.
I would like to add a series, a series of questions that are my own prompts for soft close questions to ask. And the reason being is every time you get pushback where someone says, oh, I want to think about it, it's a trigger for them that they don't know what they don't know. And what would be best, based on the book, the appendix, where they talk about the scratch pad closing solution.
So do me a favor, hold those, Celeste, because you're in tomorrow's material.
Oh, I am.
I want you to present this live in the room tomorrow because you're going to be with me.
Okay.
So make some good notes on that. Be ready to speak to those soft closes and the buyer's decision making. Tomorrow is going to be a big day on those. I want to stay.
So are we doing A and B today?
We're doing the 10-step buyer process. So we are doing Appendix A. B and C are tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then we're going to move into sellers later this week. All fun stuff. And yet there's so many things here in this buyer process that we didn't talk about on Friday, guys, that are mission critical to your success. So what else do you guys have?
All right, I'll bring up another one. I got another one.
Well, then we'll come back to you, Celeste. I got Tom first, and you're next.
Sure.
So recently I was at an event and John Maxwell spoke, and he spoke directly to me in a crowd of 5,000 people. And he said, in order for me to be successful, I surrounded myself with a bunch of mentors in certain aspects. And so I took that to heart. And recently, I joined and I've started doing martial arts and Krav Maga. And I got my white belt, which is step one. So that's where we are now. We've read the book and now we're getting our white belt. We're going to start to put this in action. And I think it's just such a great parallel. And I'm excited and disappointed we're at the end of the book.
By the way, how many would like to know what the next book is? Remind me at the end of today, and I will give you guys what we're rolling into next week. I already put it on order. Perfect. All right, Celeste, what's your nugget? You got another one.
So this idea of separating out each of these phases is so important, such as the idea of what is your plan to make a client feel special? And I'll use the example of when you had an actual brick and mortar building, you would have a client maybe show up at your office, and prior to them showing up, telling the receptionist or whoever you're going to call that person that my client is showing up and here are their names, or going to the next step, which is to have some kind of a board that says, welcome so-and-so, because this person is coming to your office. You want them to feel special from the moment they come through. Step one is just simply showing a formal greeting that recognizes they're in your space. And then to move them from there to a meeting space where at that point, you're not drilling them into the house they want to buy. You're getting to learn about them. You're getting them to feel comfortable and safe, and understanding that the only question in their head is, what's in it for me? They're looking for you not to stress on, I need to know all this stuff. How about backing up and learning about what does their current home look like? What's important to them? What's in their lives? What's changed between when you talked to them 2 days ago to today? And getting them to kind of break down the borders that they might have.
Yeah, this piece, and it's, in my affirmations, I'm interested. Not I'm interesting, I'm interested. And in showing that interest in this split. So let's say you work in a co-working space, or at least you have access to one. You can absolutely leverage that and follow this model of meet here in the entry, in the foyer, in the beginning, or greet here, excuse me, and then meet in the conference room to start diving in. If you're doing it at an open house, meet at the front door. I've even seen people set up a meeting tent on the driveway and meet there, greet there, excuse me, and then move inside to meet and talk about the open house. You get to be creative in this space to follow the models. And so again, whatever your work environment is, whatever you're dealing with, I want you to write this one down. And it'll be said again tomorrow. Stop telling me why not. Start telling me how to. Anytime that, well, here's why I can't, start instead dropping into creative, how do I? All right. Carrie, what do you got?
Can we talk about the funnel process another time?
Of course. Step 5. I love it. What do you got?
I want you to talk about it for me. I just want to know more about it.
Excellent. So I'm going to leave that to the end because it's not for me to teach and coach and train. It's up to you guys to do it for each other, because the highest way to learn something is to actually teach it.
Well, I understand like what they're saying and like all the things of how to do it, but I guess when the funnel meaning like eliminate, like I just see it as a checklist as opposed to a funnel, I guess. Like,
Are you coming tomorrow?
yes, sir, I am.
Oh, are we going to have a funnel for you there as well? And maybe somebody else in here has some more information on this funnel. So let's jump to Doug, and Jeanette is really Doug. Gotcha, Doug. What do you got, brother?
Okay. Going back to where Celeste was, when you're first meeting the people, does this consistently. He asks permission. He asks their permission about moving to the conference room. Would it be okay with you if we move to the conference room and settle in there before we get started? Would it be okay with you if I ask you a few questions before we get started? So he's consistently asking questions and getting their agreement already. So it's preparing. It is letting them open their doors for you. And I think that's a critical piece that we just kind of charge past. And getting their permission, I think, is a bigger deal than we think it is.
So as you stay present to the idea of getting their permission, because he even does it here in this paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if it's all right with you, okay, ask for permission up front. What I recommend we do, now let's just say he forgot that first part. What I recommend we do is sit down and review everything we've talked about on the phone. Plus, I would like to ask you a few questions that will help you find the right home. Oh crap, I forgot to ask for permission. Will that work for you? He threw a tie down at the end.
Yeah.
So as you guys are in this space and you catch yourself, just remember any statement can turn to a question with any type of tie down. One of my favorites is, does that sound fair? I use that one a lot. Will that work for you? And by the way, I love watching April because I'm delivering this question, if you guys notice, with downward tonality. Will that work for you? And April can't help but be a bobblehead because we have so much that we're doing together. Just make your upper left, it makes me smile seeing the rapport is there. And if you do it that way with a downswing and they bobble, you know you're in rapport and you can start now doing a little more of the flow on the information you really want to get. Who else has content from the 10-step buyer process they want to make sure others learn from them? Colleen, you are on, my dear.
Alrighty. I loved on the step 2 meeting, where it's talking about meeting them in one space and then taking them to the other, because like you have the nervous energy in the lobby, and then you take them over there to kind of move away from that. And I'm all about kind of like the energy stuff. So that was just a little nugget that I liked. But on the next one in the buyer interview, like giving them a small gift, a drink or a pen. I have these little houses, they're little cardboard houses that I got on like Temu, and I put some candy in there. Like I'll put Smarties and say, oh, you're a Smartie for buying with me or whatever, with my card, and then just whatever little candy bars. And then I give them like, it's the school calendar that I had printed out with like a recipe on the back. They're like the power of reciprocity. And I did this with my one clients, and the next time we met, they brought me a Starbucks drink, and I was like, oh, I think they felt like, they had to reciprocate. Anyway, just wanted to share that.
And it's a great one. So you guys should have some tchotchke type thing, something that, you're going to start leading with gratitude and thanks and gifting. What if you did that in every relationship? How much coolness would come from that? What
I
else?
have a cool one for the seller. Sorry, just gonna tell you, and I'll share that one when we get to the seller part.
I
It's
love it.
different than
Thank
this
you.
one.
Perfect,
Okay.
Colleen. Love it. Miss April. Awesome. What do you got?
So touch on number 8, what features or the whys or benefits. He says that buyers purchase their whys and not their whats. And I thought that was really interesting to even consider, because when people are going in to purchase things, they're only thinking about their whats and the features that they're looking for. They're not really thinking about all those benefits of or why they want it. So asking those really good forward questions, really diving into why they want what they want can help you kind of broaden your options too, I feel like.
Yeah, in a conversation, people will usually start with the what because it's more comfortable for them to talk about. The why is more emotional. And so you've got to ask questions to dig during that process on what's important about that. One of my favorites, ABC. We've always been trained stands for, always be closing, and not in our world. Action, benefit, commitment. Here, that's kind of what you're talking about. We're going to go look what's important. What are the pieces of this? You're getting them to give you some action, some information, where then you can drill in deeper and find out what's the benefit for them, which is going to allow you to get down to a certain number of houses to find the commitment. And I watched a ninja this weekend when we were looking for my kids in Portland. So great. We wound up with her and really was following this model to the T with the kids as I got to sit back and watch. And they've got an offer out and they're negotiating right now. Pretty cool. What else you guys have? Now,
I'm appreciating, of course, avoid the confusion trap is beneficial. Telling them as you're walking through and making sure you have the conversation with the buyer, and as once we decide the homes, then we'll set up the appointments, and I'll make a copy of the MLS. Or it'd be interesting to see what apps people are using for showing now, as well as printing a copy of the MLS and how they're working, because there's so many that are available now. And then just the words so we don't miss anything, so that you're confirming with them that you're not going to miss anything. And even if they see a for sale sign in the yard, so we've got the app on our phone so that we can pull up that house that's a drive-by and see how that would fit. And um, the conversations that conversation, he says, I can't emphasize the importance of this conversation with your buyers. And unfortunately, most realtors skip it and they pay the price later. So the buyer now starts to look for street signs to figure out the street of the address so they can look it up later online. And if that's the case, then the realtor has just lost them. And so what they want is the communication. So many, it used to be that the buyers would get in the vehicle with you. And that seems to not be happening very often anymore, that the buyers follow in their vehicle and you're in your vehicle. And so you don't get that rapport built with them. So unless you're on a speakerphone with them while you're driving, so you just get in the house. And having this conversation is important so that you let me know, oh, you saw that house. You can text me, you can call me, you can whatever with that house.
So let's have a little fun though and back this up again, because I heard a allegation that the way it is now is we're in separate cars and we don't get a build as good a rapport being in separate cars. So again, stop seeing why not, stop telling me why not. How could we make that a how-to? How could we make that a consistent, we are in a vehicle together? What are some
You
ideas?
simply get into the vehicle, you get into the vehicles together. I was actually going to talk about that because I think she's right. As agents, we have become quote unquote technologically advanced to the point that we have almost made ourselves irrelevant. And I'll be honest with you, I have made that mistake where the buyer is in another car. But I figured, moving forward, if they're in my car, now I have a chance of communication. Now I have a chance of building. Now I have a chance of relationship. So I think we're kind of worried about where the industry is going technologically, and yet we're the ones that are pushing it there, away from us. We got to be careful about that, but that's just my thoughts.
Well, and again, your job is to make it an experience. Right now, a lot of agents are acting like order takers. They're not really making it an experience. In unreasonable hospitality, you had someone take a restaurant from the very last Michelin star in year 1 to number 1 in Michelin star in year 2 without changing a single thing regarding the menu and the food.
Is there a recording of that, by the way? Because I was there. Is there a recording?
Again, I'm not sure. And here's the fun part. It's on our reading list, so we can actually dive into the reality of it when it comes.
Good.
That being said, again, I want to come back to the question at hand to get you thinking differently. Because what else could you do to make sure you were in a vehicle together?
Good.
Have a really nice car and invite them in.
Well, okay. As I'm getting ready to show people on each house, I basically already have a packet of information. I'll have the listing, I'll have the seller's disclosure, I'll have the survey if it's available, I'll have anything that I can grab a hold of to put in a packet. I'm going to hand them about that house. And I'm going to highlight certain places on it to kind of draw their eye to it so we can discuss that when we're there. I have a packet for myself also, but I don't have all that stuff there because I take theirs and show theirs to them. That's what I do with that. But I don't hand them the other houses that we're going to see. The other houses that we're going to see, that packet is in my car. So y'all come with me. I've got some packets in my car for the next house, and y'all can look at that on the way over. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do this. And I think this is a great forum to, talk about ideas on how we can pull this off.
While I'm driving, you can be reviewing going into the next house. I love that. Justin, you've got something else to add to the Nuggets?
Yeah, I think this is really an easy one, and we've talked about some cool ways in past mornings, like the one guy that got a limousine and had somebody drive them and pick them up, and I could see myself doing that kind of a thing at this point and moving forward. But I've also had times where I didn't really have an appropriate real estate agent vehicle. I've showed up to listing appointments in an ambulance. I've showed up to go do showings with buyers with a bucket truck. I've shown up to deals on a Harley Davidson. And there's no way you're going to put a family on the back of a motorcycle. But there's been more than one instance where the people liked me well enough to decide to work with me for whatever reason at that point. And then when they have a more suitable vehicle for us to go around, it's easy to say, hey, since I've got this bike or this work vehicle, or how about if I hop in with you, I navigate and I'll pick up lunch or whatever. And the majority of the time, those people would not let me buy them lunch either. They're riding around in their car, which probably way less than ideal. And yet I think it's a perfect how-to instead of why not, because I could have had all the why nots.
Yeah, you dropped a couple of fun nuggets though, which could absolutely tie into your marketing. Like the limo, my buddy in San Francisco with the limo. There, who's not gonna get in a limo to go do a tour? No, I want to drive myself. Yeah, I mean you've broken that barrier. You brought up the ambulance. You could build an entire marketing strategy around that and have that thing logoed up. How much fun. There was a great company in Northern California that all their tour buses were short buses. That's the name of the company, Short Bus Tours. So fun things that you guys can do again to be different in the marketplace. How key is that? This is where you get to play with your niche, play with your marketing, play with what you want to do. And as look at what just came from changing our attitude from why not to how to in the way of brainstorming that just 3-4 minutes. Freaking phenomenal. Love you guys and can't wait to do it later today. Let's get at least one more person. Who else?
Is nobody curious about the ambulance? How did you show up in an ambulance?
So years ago, I had one of my buddies tell me an ambulance will make the best moto van. So we raced dirt bikes, motorcycles, and an ambulance is just a heavy duty van with all kinds of compartments, tool compartments. The one I had a diesel engine or whatever. So I just bought one on eBay and I rolled that thing for about 10 years and all kinds of interesting interactions. It's a great conversation piece. I only had a couple of times where people flagged me down and they actually needed a paramedic. And I felt a little bad and had to say, I'm sorry, but you've got the wrong guy. Like, I am not actually.
I'll sleep tonight.
But yeah, no, and so that was one of my vehicles. It was, you're going somewhere and we're in it. So you pull up and then people stop and check, like, are you guys okay? No, well, no, we need to sell this house. Like they saw an ambulance out front. But yeah, you can buy them. You can buy anything on eBay or Marketplace.
So think about that from a creative perspective, guys, and just be open to the possibilities right now. If you're going to focus on buyers, and you all should have a buyer lane, how you can provide a higher level of service and experience for folks that are interacting with you. And for me, it's always providing you guys a better level of experience. So today, 12 to 1, we're running 2 brainstorming sessions, 12 to 1. 12 to 12:30, we are brainstorming our buyer interview questions.
So are we switching that? Because I think last time you said 11. So we're going to switch it to noon today?
Well, I'm showing noon on my end, I believe.
Are you in Chicago?
I am in Chicago. I'm using Chicago time because
Yeah, you did say 11 from my notes.
well, 11 would be 1, so then I just didn't move it. I'm committing to you since those are your notes. Done. Look at that, because my schedule is built that I can rearrange stuff. Beautiful. We're going to do it 11.
11.
And yep, I just got it on my calendar wrong, so it's 11 to 11:30.
Here on Zoom.
Absolutely do those conversations, and then 11:30 to 12, the buyer packet. And the things that we could be including in that buyer packet for an incredible experience. So it's going to be a conversation. It's going to be all of us. I want you in there, okay? It is Monday, boys and girls. Let's make sure today is a rocking day. Let's make sure we're having lots of conversations. You are all paid in direct proportion to the number of conversations you have. I'll see you at 11 o'clock Central. And of course, 2 to 5. I will see you then as well.